With Greg Schiano and the 4-0 Rutgers coming into Lincoln this week, Nebraska is going to have to be on their P's and Q's to win this game. The two of us on this channel have predicted wins in every game so far, but we are split at best on this one. Gary, I don't want to give away the best part of the video, but let's just say it. You have real concern that the Huskers are going to lose this game.
So basically, I see it as Nebraska either kind of wins this like they won their other games where they get a good enough lead that it's kind of put away before it's over, or it's a close game and yet another close loss, because I'm basically just going off of styles. The biggest part of me is going off of basically what I was saying all of last year for every preview, but we haven't seen Nebraska play a complete game, and I think they're going to need a complete game against these guys, or at least a good solid 3/4. And when you look at like what they do in the red zone, both sides of the ball, I think they're starting 3 sophomores. Other than that, every one of their starters is a junior or senior. A lot of them redshirt, so they have a lot of experience. Schiano's a very legit, very good coach. I don't think this is a team that you can screw around with and decide, well, we're just going to run the ball and take the air out of it and cruise to a victory or establish time of possession, things like that. I think your best bet is letting Raiola slice and dice their defense. I think that's going to be available all game long, and then run. It doesn't seem like that's what they want to do. They keep talking every week how they want to establish the run. Rutgers has issues with tackling. That's one of their biggest problems. They haven't beaten any really good teams. I know name-wise they've beaten Virginia Tech and Washington. Washington's nowhere near what it was last year. They lost pretty much everybody that was worth anything. New coach. Virginia Tech's only won 2 games, I think. They haven't done well, especially since they played them. But that being said, I don't feel like we've played a ton of great teams. The best team we played, we found a way to lose that one.
How much of this do you think is a reaction to the terrible football we saw in the first half versus Purdue? Purdue was supposed to be an easy W, and it took a long while to get going. Is that influencing the way you feel? Because you also told me that you feel that Illinois is a better team that would handle Rutgers. I don't know. That makes me kind of lean towards thinking we should be able to handle our business and win if we really put our minds to it.
You're a small brain when it comes to football.
That's true.
It drives me nuts, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but I'm saying it drives me nuts when people go, well, Team A beat Team B, and Team B beat Team C, so that means Team A would automatically beat Team C. And we see every year this team lost to that team, but even though that team beat that team, they still lose the other team. It's matchups. You know what I mean? It's matchups, and it's what does one team do well? What does one team struggle with? And which team can exploit those struggles and minimize their own struggles, right? So to go back to your first question, yes and no. I'm looking at everything as a whole. I'm looking at our first 3 wins. We didn't play a complete game of football, but we were up big enough it didn't matter. Still won the game. I'm looking at how bad the defense looked in a lot of situations against Illinois, which is the first Big Ten team they played, the best team they played, how rough of a start they had with Purdue. I'm factoring all of that in, and I'm just looking at, after 1 or 2 games, you don't really know exactly what you're getting yet. I think this point in the season, where we're damn near halfway through the season, until Nebraska shows us otherwise, there's no reason to think we're getting 4 solid quarters of football on both sides of the ball. I'm really worried about special teams. That's why I say if it comes to a close game, I don't think we're going to win. Be it kickers, be it kicking in different directions, be it long snappers, whatever it is. I think Rutgers is going to do what everybody else has done, and they're going to try to maximize what they can get on first downs. And that's why everybody keeps talking about we can't get off the field on third downs. I'm one of them. Like, you have to get off the field on third down. It's not just your third down defense. You're giving up 5 and 6 yards on first down, and now they have 2. We're seeing a lot of teams go for it on 4th against us. 2, sometimes 3 plays to just get 4 yards. Any team worth their salt can do that, right? So I worry about that still. I worry about the consistency of tackling on the defense. I worry about the in-betweens on the zone when teams throw on us, or the underneath stuff that we give. I worry about their running back is by far, in my opinion, the best running back we're going to see. And they do so much running with him up the A-gap. That's what they show on film, and then he'll bounce it out. And then later they'll start doing off tackles and outside runs. I wouldn't be surprised if they come at us right away trying to run outside. Like Shiano's talked about, everybody knows with Hutmacher and Robinson what you've got in the middle to try to run against. And we've shown against lesser running backs that we don't do a very good job of sealing off the edge. So that good of a running back, he never stops. Like the dude's just got a motor. He doesn't have crazy breakaway speed. He is tough to bring down. He runs hard. He's only like 210, 5'9", 5'10", something like that. He's not a very big back, which sometimes is tougher. When you got a guy that runs hard, keeps his feet moving that low to the ground, it's going to be tough, man.
He's got good vision and he's really physical.
And he has good balance too. He doesn't just go down on first contact a lot. So I think defensively, you almost have to readjust what you've been doing. And I don't think they're going to do that. And again, I've said this ad nauseum. Tony White's forgotten more than I know. I'm not sitting here saying I know what's best or whatever. I'm just saying from watching these things, I think you need to have guys in the box, especially early on first down. You need to not worry so much about that 3-man front and really worry about gap assignments, because if there's the slightest bit of a gap, he's going to weasel his way through. And exactly what we're talking about, he might not spring something for 40 yards on us, but you give up 4 or 5 yards on first down, that drastically changes what the offense can and will call the next 2 plays, right? So I wish I had a different opinion, and my opinion would be different had I seen more in the first 5 games. Going off of what I've seen, I don't feel super confident that we're just going to come in, suffocate the run, and try to make, I can't say his name, homeboy from Minnesota last year, beat us through the air or things like that. On offense, I think we won't have much trouble with them on offense. There'll be some plays probably with penalties or whatever else, but I think they're going to draw out drives on us, own time of possession. And if Nebraska can't find a way to force a couple turnovers or just really buckle down and force some 3 and outs, or even, 1 or 2 first downs, whatever it is, what it is. But if we can't get a couple score lead and get them kind of in panic mode and get them out of their comfort zone of running the ball and start forcing them to throw, I think it's going to be a really long game for Nebraska. And I think the longer it goes as a close game, the worse it's going to be for Nebraska.
My optimism for this game comes from a belief that we seem to play better when the stakes are higher. Colorado, stakes felt high. They came out and played probably their very best. Illinois, I felt like they were in control of that entire game until all of a sudden they weren't, and they absolutely couldn't get it back. But each time they've played what was viewed as a lesser team, they just played down to that level, it would seem, and I don't see that happening with Rutgers. I don't see them sleeping on Rutgers or disrespecting that run game and that coach. So I'm envisioning them coming out fully hyped up, and I think that plus the talent that Nebraska has should equate to a win. I'm going to say Nebraska wins 31-24, but I want to also say it will not surprise me if you are right and they lose.
I don't want it to sound like I'm straddling on the fence here. If Nebraska can get up decent, a possession or two, I think Nebraska will win in the teens. Right. Kind of like I said, my guess with Purdue, didn't see the game going that way. But I mean, that's kind of what I figured for final score, somewhere around there, like that difference. I just don't think that that's going to happen, because I think they're going to try to run too much and, have some punts, and Rutgers is going to own time of possession. As far as a score, I want to say like 31-28 type deal. I mean, if I had a little more confidence in our special teams or defense early on in the game, I wouldn't, but I mean, I think it's going to be a close game. And until they show me that I need to think otherwise, that's just what I'm going to predict. And I'm praying I'm wrong.
Please tell us your score predictions in the comments. Hit that like button. We'll see you guys Saturday for the live stream.